Kakadosh, Boker Or. I wanted to share with you an incredible idea on this week's parasha. In our parasha, we start off in Parashat Trumah, Daber el Bnei Yisrael v'yichuli Trumah. Right? Speak to Bnei Yisrael and take donations. For any public speaker, anyone that's always doing campaigns, it's probably the best parasha to ever come and start collecting money. Right? You're talking about Trumot. So come, give you donations, give it over here. Anybody that has a beautiful heart, a good heart, tichu trumati. The Al-Shich HaKadosh. The Al-Shich comes and he asks the most famous question which every person speaks about. How, if I'm right now going to come and I'm going to try to ask you for a donation, I'm coming and basically what they try to do nowadays is to do this by psychologically come and say, by the way, you should know, you're really not giving me a donation, right? I'm not taking it. I'm really giving you. And that's the entire wisdom of nowadays, to try to convince people to give, that it's not really that they're giving, they're really taking. So you try to sell it to them. And nowadays it's all the sales pitch. So how does it go, the sales pitch? So Rabbi Mansour was actually just speaking about, for example, nowadays Chinese auction. Why is it so successful, a Chinese auction? Why is it much better a Chinese auction than just without anything? And the reason is very good, because I have got a big chance to win. And therefore, really, even though I'm taking off from one pocket, it's kilo and putting in the other in pocket. Because even though it's like an investment, you may not win anything, but not every single stock also wins. And therefore, but it feels that, listen, I'm not really doing much. Or he gave the example, you're giving to a kolel. And he says for the $52 that you're giving, all of a sudden he has a kolel chatzot, boom, he has 52 names. And he's saying, Aywa, like how many names are you? So you're really giving to, so you feel that you're actually taking something in return. And that's the entire concept. So why in the Torah, and that's what the Al-Shich HaKadosh comes and he asks, why in the Torah does it come and it says, V'yichuli truma, you're taking, you have to give a truma. You're giving donations. You're not taking donations. What does that mean? You have to be on the giving end or not on the receiving end. Doesn't make sense. And especially, right, that the Rabbi Yisrael Micharkov, he comes and he asks, not only that, it actually says at the beginning, V'yichuli truma, and then it says at the end, Tichu trumati. Truma means give a donation. And then it says, give my donation. What do you mean my donation? It's mine. I'm giving you a donation. Imagine somebody comes and he's going to give you money. And he says, by the way, I'm taking for myself. Here, take this. And you're like, thank you so much. Donation. You're taking for yourself. That's interesting. And then what do you say? By the way, here, this is yours. But it's not really mine. It's yours. What does that mean? It's mine, and I'm the one that's giving it. So why does it say V'yichuli truma? And then afterwards it says trumati. It's my truma. And he comes and he explains the following. Ikare emunah. When we're talking about the concept of the principles of faith, is to understand that a person has nothing. Nada. Nothing is his. And all of its possessions and his wealth and his acquisitions, his riches, is not from himself. But everything, hakol bakol mikol kol, every single little thing is a present from Hashem. And that he's the one that's giving us parnasah, and he gives us the strength in order to make chayil, to make everything that we have, and he gives us beracha in it. And even after the money already comes to his hands, it's not ours. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving it to us as a pikadon, as a collateral. We're in charge of it, right? At the end of the day, we're only the agents which are in charge, but we're really not the ones that are the owners. We are the ones that it's in our possession, but that's it. And therefore, this is the yesod of giving tzedakah. A person has to have emunah that he's not giving from himself anything, but rather it's like he's giving back a pikadon, he's giving back the collateral to the person that gave it to him. And that's what the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avot. Rabbi Elazar Ish Partota Omer, ten lo mishelo, give him what's his. She'ata v'shelcha shelo, because you and everything which belongs to you belongs to him. And that's what we say, Ki mimecha hakol u'miyadecha natanu lo. That everything comes from you. Ki mimecha hakol. Everything comes from you. and from your hand I'm giving back. That's what you're doing. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not want in the Trumah Mishkan or Netinat Tzedakah when it's coming from Hargasha, meaning he doesn't want a donation that you come and you feel, I'm missing something. I'm now lacking something. He says, no, really, Be'emet, what's happening is he wants you to give from an emunah tehorah, from a pure emunah, that really, Be'emet, you're giving from him. That's what you're doing. You're giving something that's 100% from him. And now we could actually understand all the different diktukim, as we already mentioned. So now we understand all the diukim that we mentioned. When it says v'yichu instead of v'yitnu, which means you're taking instead of that what you're giving, is because really, be'emet, the person is not giving from himself anything, right? And therefore it's saying, from who are you taking it from? Which means from the ones that understand that it's my truma, that they understand that it's mine, that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's, that's the one that he wants them to give. Because he doesn't want you to give and you're giving a feeling that you're doing him a favor. You're not doing HaKadosh Baruch Hu any favors. You don't give him any favors. Hashem Yitbarach wants to come and he wants to build a Mishkan, which is a makom for the Shekhinah, which is a very high place. It's a makom of tefillah, vekut of Hashem, something like this. It has to be money, which is completely clean from kochi ve'otzem yadi asali et hachayil hazeh. With the money which you can actually build a Mishkan, which is going to stay for eternity. Just like the Tana of Eliyahu comes and he says, Mipnei ma Mishkan kayam hayom. He said, why is it that there's a Mishkan? Why is the Mishkan still here? What does that mean? We know that the Bet HaMikdash, the first one was destroyed. The second one, destroyed. The Mishkan was put in Genizah. It was not destroyed. It was put in Genizah. And if all you have to do is you have to uncover the ground, we don't know where it is. You uncover it, you take it out, you'll find it. Why? Says, because it was done kosher, benediv livan. And kashim lefanav shelavin. If something was done with such a kosher heart, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not destroy it. It will not be destroyed. And therefore, since they came and they understood that everything that they're giving is not really theirs, it actually belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So if it came from so it wasn't destroyed. And that's why it says v'yichu and it doesn't say v'yitnu, because they actually receive in order to give back. They are lochim, they take something, but they know that it's on condition to give back. And that's the purpose of it. And that's what the Imrem Noam comes and he says, is a remes, that it's coming to say by the people that Hashem Yitbarach comes. And he comes and he gives them all the tovot sheba'olam, he gives them all the riches and everything. That even though a person did a lot of things to make those wealth, to make it, understand that everything was from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nothing was from himself. And that's why the Midrash in Bamidbar Rabbah comes and it says, Shalosh matanot nivru ba'olam. There are three presents which were created in this world. Zacha be'acham mehen natal chemdat kol ha'olam. Zacha bechokhmah, zacha bakol. If you are going to be zoche in wisdom, you're zoche in everything. Zacha bigvura, zacha bakol. If you have strength, you have everything. Zacha ba'osher, zacha bakol. If you're going to have in wealth, everything. What's going on? Emmatai, one of these words. Bizman she'en matanot shamayim ba'ot mikoach haTorah. He says, only if it comes from Hashem, and it comes from koach haTorah. Aval gvurato ve'osho shel basav adam, but if it just comes from the human being, it's nothing. And that's what we keep on saying in the Midrash, which means that at the end of the day, you had two chachamim in the world, one from Israel and one from Umot HaOlam. Achitofel was from Israel. Bil'am was from Umot HaOlam. And both of them were destroyed. You had two Giborim in the world, one from Israel, one from Umot HaOlam, Shimshon and Goliath. Both of them were destroyed. Shnei Ashirim, two rich people, one from Israel, one from Umot HaOlam. Korach from Israel. Haman, Me'umot HaOlam. Both of them were destroyed. Why? Because their present was not from Hashem. Ela chotfinot alayim. They grabbed it for themselves. Each one of these people, they came and they grabbed it for themselves. It wasn't a present from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now we actually understand, how do we say that it doesn't come from Hashem? Gvura is not going to come from Hashem. The wealth doesn't come from Hashem. Wisdom doesn't come from Hashem. What's going on? Right? How could that be? It's a yesod. The Gemara says in Yomah, "En adam nogea memuchal lechavero afilu kimlo nima." Nobody could touch something that's not theirs, not even a hairbreadth. Not only that, the Gemara also says in Rosh Hashanah, the parnasah of a human being from Rosh Hashanah. So how could I take something that's not mine? How could you tell me that there's wealth and I don't take the wealth? It's kilu, I'm taking something that doesn't belong to me. What's going on? The Sfat Emet comes and he answers. And he says like this, listen to the Sfat Emet, that more migur. Shevadai emet v'tzedek, everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and a person cannot take nothing from himself. B'chazal HaKadoshim, they're coming mityaches to the kavanah and the emunah of the human being. His intention, his emunah, his belief. And he says if a person thinks to himself that he himself did all these things, it's kilu, he's grabbing it away. It's not that Hashem didn't give it to him. Of course Hashem gave it to him. If a person does not, if Hashem doesn't give him anything, nothing, he'll be able to jump up and down, nothing. It won't help. But the kavanah is that he's taking it on his own because he believes kilu that he did it. So if he's got wealth and he thinks that he was the one that made the wealth, he took it on his own. Not that Hashem didn't give it to him. For sure Hashem gave it. If Hashem didn't make it, for sure. It's impossible to get it. But it's ki'ilu that what's happening now is he's grabbing it on his own, and therefore he's going to lose it. And therefore, according to what the Sfat Emet right now is saying is that when a person recognizes that he thinks that really be'emet, so again, if he thinks that he was the one that does everything, so therefore he's chotefet, he's grabbing it. Now again, the Sfat Emet already explained. For sure that means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was the one that gave it to him, because if not, he could never take it. But now it's considered he grabbed it, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes it away from him. But if he recognizes that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu that gave it to him, so then now we understand that it stays by him. And now we understand what it means, Tichuli Terumah. All of these things, whether it's Parnasah and everything, Tichuli. Say that it comes from me. You have to recognize that it's coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that the tzlacha is coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And once a person knows that, just like every man, that he's coming and he's doing that, he's recognizing everything that's going on, that's talui b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore he comes and he says, that's the one that I want, because he's going to have hatzlacha and everything that he's doing. So according to that, now we're going to ask, okay, a person has parnasah, they have properties. What's the segula? We know that we are an am segula, always looking for segulot. Yeah, so therefore, what's the segula to have, right? That all our possessions are going to stay by us and everything that we have are going to stay by us. And they say like this, ha'emunah shlema. When a person has true emunah, that is hatzlacha that comes, everything from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is the secret of hatzlacha, and that is going to protect that you're going to recognize that everything is going to stay by you. Everything is going to stay by you. He says, just like the Gemara Betzah says, "Harotzeh shitkaimu nechasav," by the Gemara Betzah Tetvav Amubet. It says, if you want that your properties are going to stay, ita bahem adar, plant an adar tree. Shneimar b'sezer pasuk adid b'manom Hashem. Rashi says, adar is a shon chozek. So what does it mean? Plant an adar. What's going to plant an adar? What does it mean? Sfat Emet comes and he says, if you want that all your nechasim, all your properties, whether we're talking about spiritual or physical, ita bahem adar lashon chozek means at every moment, yichazek et atzmo, at every moment, strengthen yourself to know she'adid b'marom Hashem. Everything comes from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And when you understand that adid b'marom Hashem, that everything comes from Hashem, up there, adir is strength, right? Chozek. When you understand that, everything will stay by you. All your properties, everything will stay by you, because you recognize it wasn't you that did anything. Everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what the Bnei Yisachar also says. The Bnei Yisachar says, it's a remez, harotzeh she'itkaimu nechasav ita b'hem adar, she'ita v'yasim betoch nechasav ha'sechel, the understanding, from the month of Adar. Why the month of Adar? Now we're in the month of Adar. What are we doing in the month of Adar? Ki ha'osek b'schora v'nechasim. Because if you come and you do business, and you say that everything is bekochi v'otzem yadi, it comes from my strength, my wisdom, I'm an incredible businessman, I'm an incredible this, I've got incredible this. What happens? He says, lo yitkaimu nechasav. He's not going to have hatzlacha in everything that he does. But if he's going to place into his mind that even within the nature, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's there. And he's the one that's bringing it about. Just like what happened in the month of Adar. He's going to have atzlacha. And he's going to keep all of his properties, all of his possessions. And that's the raya from the pasuk of Adir B'Manom Hashem. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the name of Yud Ke Vav Ke, he's showing HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hashkacha pratit. He's all over the world. He's everything. Was, is, will be. And there, that's what the Rashi says. ושמחת לפני השם אלוקיך אתה ומלך ואיתך ועבדך ולוי אשר במתון. Says Rashi, והלוי והגר והיתום והאלמנה, 4 שלי, כנגד 4 שלך. Says Rashi something incredible. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and he says, you have to be happy before Hashem. Who's going to be happy? You, ata, banecha, your children, right? Ubitecha, your sons, your daughters. V'avdecha v'amatecha. You're talking about your servants and your maidservants. You have 4. You have your sons, daughters, servants, and maidservants. If you're going to make mine happy, if you're going to come and you're going to make my children happy, who's that? The Leviim, that they don't have properties. The Gerim, the converts. The Yatom, the orphans. The Almanah, the widows. I'm going to make yours happy. And he says, you make mine happy, I'm going to make yours happy. 4 for 4. And the reason is barur, because when you come and you give to these people and you recognize that the money is not yours, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you the bracha that even your own family will also be able to continue to be happy, which is something incredible. Yeah? So now he comes and he says, through tzedakah, you could actually come and be adding that which you gave, or what you were supposed to get at the beginning. Meaning at the beginning, let's say I was going to have $1 million. And now by coming and giving tzedakah, I could actually even get more than that. That's the chidush. Listen to this chidush. The Chazal we actually bring, it's a midrash. The midrash Yalkut Shimoni and Ruth says as follows. Listen to this midrash. Maaseh behasid echad sheyarad min nechasav. There was a story of a chassid that he became poor. And his wife was a kosher wife. Lesof nasa sachid, he started working. He became, said before, he had workers and everything. All of a sudden now he had to become an employee. He was once coming and he was plowing. So Eliyahu came as an Aravi. אמר לו אליהו, says אליהו, יש לך 6 שנים טובות? אם אתה היית מבקש אותם, עכשיו בסוף ימיך, he says, you're going to have 6 years. But they're going to be good years. When do you want them? You want them now or towards the end of your life? אמר לו, he says, קוסם אתה? He says, what, you're a sorcerer? אין לי מה ליתן לך. Right? He says, I don't have what to give you. אלא ייפטר מעלי ושלום. Right? He came back to him 3 times. On the third time he went and he says, you know what? Let me go to my wife. He didn't understand what the guy wanted. He's coming saying, listen, you're going to have 6 years. They're going to be good years. Do you want them now? Do you want them? He thought, he didn't understand. He said, I'm going to ask my wife. He went to his wife and he says, somebody comes, he starts asking me 3 times. And he tells me you have 6 years. When do you want them, now or at the end? Amarla, matomeret. He comes, he tells him, what do you say? Amralo, she tells him, go tell him, bring them now. So he comes and he says, okay, bring them now. Amarlo, he says, okay, go to your house. By the time you get home, you're already going to see the parnasa. You're already going to see the bracha in your house. And all of a sudden, they were coming, they were looking. And all of a sudden, they went and they found money. And the money was enough for 6 years. Right? They come, they called their mother. They said, look, how much does it cost for a year? Whatever it is, the amount. Yeah? Look, we found parnasa for 6 years in one shot. Here it is. Yeah? What happened was, velo igia, right? He didn't even get to his gate. And the wife is coming out saying to him, look, we found 6 years worth of parnasa. Immediately he comes, right? And he thanks his HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he's okay. But what did the Isha Kshira do? Amralo, she told him, nevertheless, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a chut shel chesed, and he gave us mazon sheshanim, we have to do gemilut chasadim during these years. Because maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu will come and he'll add on to it. And that's what she did. Every day she used to come and she used to give. She told her younger child, anybody that doesn't have, give him. Go out and give parnasah, give tzedakah. What happened? At the end of 6 years, came Eliyahu Navi Zachul Tov. He says, oh, I have to take everything. Amarlo, he comes and he tells him, when I took everything from you, I only took it because of my wife. So also when I'm going to give it back, I have to go back to my wife. He went to her and he tells her, the Zaken came, the elderly man came and he wants to take it back. Amralo, she told him, listen to this. Lech emorlo, go and tell the older man. If you found people that are more trustworthy than us, the way that we handle the money, give it to them. Give it to them as a pikadon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw their words in the Gemilut Chasadim that they did. Ve'osif lahem tova al tova. He added on to them one good thing on another good thing. Lekayem ma shneimar ve'haya ma'aseh tzedakah shalom. That the actions of tzedakah is shalom. And he comes and he says, this is an incredible chidush, an incredible novelty. That even though it was mefurash, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu only made 6 years, and not more than 6 years, he was going to have only 6 years of beracha. That's what he told them from the beginning. Still, when they understood it and they realized it was a matana from Hashem, and they didn't, and they gave everything, they used to give tons to tzedakah. They saw it that it came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So they said, this is the best person, the best watchman. They went and they added on to it. That's an incredible chidush. Because a person might think, okay, fine, everything's the exam in the shamayim, but then that's it. Yeah? Now we're saying no. They could even add on to what was originally given. Because if a person came and they recognized that it comes from Hashem, and they just kept on going and giving the bracha and giving it and giving it and giving it, that's what they have. Now, if a person comes, right, and, right, he does not give the tzedakah, he cannot stop anything. So the Gemara Batra says, the Rash Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Shalom, right, Rabbi Yehuda comes Rabbi Shalom and he says, Keshem shemezonotav shel adam ketzuvim lo merosh Hashanah. Just like mezonotav shel adam are from Rosh Hashanah, so too chesronotav shel adam tzuvim Rosh Hashanah. What does that mean? Not only is the person what they make, what they're going to spend, is going to be from Rosh Hashanah. Zachai, if a person is going to be zocheh, halofaros le'av le'av lachmecha. He'll give the tzedakah. Lo zacha, v'ani merudim tavi bayit. And if he's not going to be zocheh, they're going to come, they're going to collect it from him. Tehainu, which means, if he didn't give what he was supposed to give to the aniyim, he's going to be forced to give it to aniyim merudim. What is aniyim merudim? To the government, which they're always screaming, give us, give us. And if so, right, what's it going to help to come and stop giving? What's it going to help? At the end, they're going to take it from you anyway. So the Gemara actually says of Yochanan ben Zakkai, he saw in a dream on Mosei Kippur that there was during Yemei Adin, it was going to be decreed upon his nephews that they had to be taken away from them 700 coins. The entire year he was trying to collect from them money, the entire year, until he collected 683 coins. On Erev Kippur, they came and they put them in jail, right? They wanted to put them in jail. So they went and they said, we're afraid. Why? Because we don't know how much money they're going to start asking from us. And what happened was, they said, don't worry about it. It's only going to be 17 coins. And that's it. And that's exactly what happened. They gave 17 coins and they finished the story. 17, that's it. So they went and they said, but how do you know? How do you know it was only 17? The government comes out. How do you know it's 17? What's going on? He said, very, very simple. He said, because I already had the dream that you were supposed to lose 700. I only collected the 683, so I knew it was only 17 left. So they went and they asked him, so why didn't you tell us? He said, I wanted you to do it lishma. I wanted to do it, giving it for tzedakah, and that's it. So that's what also it says in Shira Shirim Rabbah. Amar Rabbi Levi, says Rabbi Levi, Matla Amar Tarad el Patiach, he comes, it's a mashal, right? Sha'ar shelo patuach lemitzvah, ye patuach lo rofel leshalem lo. When you don't have a person that their gates are not open to give tzedakah, so then the doctors will need to get it. And that's why they say, just like shemochlim, molchim mochlim, shishtamru lizman aroch, which means you want to come and you want to have it, so preservatives, in order that it stays for a very, very long time. And this is the remez that we say, Zoreat tzedakot, matzmiach yeshuot. When you are Zoreat tzedakah, you come and you're going to plant tzedakah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and he brings yeshuot min hashamayim. And those salvations that come from the shamayim will actually save a person. I remember there was a famous story with Rav Nisim Yagen. Rav Nisim Yagen, he said a famous story about this. There were basically, right, 3 of the rabbis that they used to come and they used to go to Tachana Merkazit, and they used to say, okay, we're going to go. We don't know where even we're going, but we're going to go and we're going to be Machzir B'Tshuvah. So each rabbi went, he got on a different bus, and wherever the bus took them, they went. So what happened was the rabbi comes and he goes right to a Bet Knesset, and he's waiting outside, and he's waiting, and all of a sudden a guy comes with a straw hat, and he comes and he tells him, what are you doing here? He says, I came to pray. He says, okay, fine. So he says, okay. So he comes and he says, no. So he said, okay, so he wants to come inside and pray. He says, but prayer only starts later. He says, okay, but can I come inside and learn? Okay, fine. He lets him in. Let Breda. This was the Parnas, the Gabbai of the Bet Knesset. And then what happens is he comes and he says, okay. So he comes inside. He asks him, can I be Shliach Tzibur? He comes and he says, okay, fine. But you're not allowed to collect money. But I'm not collecting money. I didn't ask anything. Fine. He comes, he be Shliach Tzibur. You have to remember, especially by these people, once they're Shliach Tzibur, they're Gadol Ador. So that was the old mentality. The old mentality, once he could be Shliach Tzibur, he was like, this big rabbi, this and that, it's a big, great guy, yeah. He could be an Amaris, Doraita, Darbanan. That's all. Shliach Tzibur is something big. Okay. You're Shliach Tzibur. Afterwards, he comes and he says, between me and Charavit, can I say something? No, but I already told you no. He said, no, but just 5 minutes. One condition, you don't ask for money. No problem. Don't ask for money. He came and he said this. He comes and he says, we say in Lael Baruch Nimot Tenu, in Shachrit every single morning. Right? We come and we say, Lael Baruch Nimot Tenu, Matzmiach Yeshuot, right? We come and we say, Zorei Tzedakot, Matzmiach Yeshuot, Borei Refuot, Norat Ilot. What's the connection? Zorei Tzedakot. When you come and you give tzedakah, you're planting. But he's planting the tzedakah. What does that mean? Planting tzedakah. Matzmiach Yeshuot, you get salvations. Right? And then afterwards, all of a sudden, you have a refuah. What's going on? What's the explanation? Now remember, the guy has 5 minutes. So he went and he said like this. He says, you should know that it's something actually incredible. Many times in life, a person comes and he gives tzedakah. And they think, okay, they give tzedakah. But they don't realize that tzedakah actually planted something. And through that tzedakah that they actually plant, the salvation will come out because of that tzedakah. And many times the salvation will even create also healings. And a person doesn't realize that it all came from the original tzedakah that a person did. So he finished. He didn't ask for any money. They do arvit. They finish. This guy, I forgot his name now. I actually even wrote down the name. It was like John something, John Claw. I don't know what it was. Look it up. And basically what happened was he came back and he told them as follows. He says, you should know, I'm going to tell you my story. So all of a sudden the guy actually connected to it because he understood the Dvar Torah. And he says like this, I'm going to tell you a real life story. He says, this guy, right, the Parnas, he was Avi Avot Tumah. You know what Avi Avot Tumah is? He was a hairdresser, right, of women. So he was dealing with the hair of women. So he was Pashut Tumah, every celebrity, everything, right? They would come to him, he would deal with the hair of the women. That's what he was doing. He was a hairdresser. Fine, no problem. He was doing all these things. He was in France. He was living in France. Not religious whatsoever. But he was known to be Jewish. Okay, fine. Comes a Goya. She comes inside, does the haircut, very good. She's speaking to him. Afterwards, right, she comes, she finishes, and she sits on the seat beside him. So he tells her, hello, like I already did you once, that's it. It's not 2 for 1 here. He's like, what do you want now? Yeah, she comes, she tells him, listen, I wanted to ask you something. He says, I want to become Jewish, so I want to know, would you marry me? He looks at her, he's like, what? He says, yeah, I want to become Jewish. So what? But why? Like, what's the connection? So she says, I think that the only way that I could become closer to God is if I marry a Jew. So then what will happen is is that I have a stronger connection to get to Hashem, to get to God. So therefore, I want to marry you. At the beginning, he pushed her off. Afterwards, she was a very good-looking lady, this, that. He comes and he says, you know what? Okay, fine, on one condition. I'm not religious. You never tell me what to do. Says, deal, no problem. Now, we all know that if a person is really genuine, right, and they really want to convert, they don't just convert and that's it. So she started the process, right, and she converted, and she was Shabbat, did everything. But there was a deal. The deal was, he's never going to tell her anything. After a few months of marriage, he went and he told her something. She told him something, sorry. And what happened? He went crazy. No, nothing. A deal is a deal, okay? Another few months, nothing. He does not open up, nothing whatsoever. And she's all day saying Tehillim, and she's praying, and she's this and that. One day she came, and she brought him tefillin. And she wanted him to wear tefillin. Yeah? He comes, he takes the tefillin, right? He gets so angry. He takes the tefillin, and he throws it out the window. He throws it out the window. It falls down. Imagine, falls down, right? And it falls on the floor downstairs. They live in an apartment. She runs down, she starts crying, and he was screaming at her. He told her, I told you never in your life will you ever tell me again the tefillin, this, that. She comes, she takes the tefillin, she kisses it, she realizes that it's because of her. She says she's probably wrong. She goes to a rabbi, and the rabbi tells her, just pray. That's all you have to do. You just pray. Pray to Hashem to open up his heart. That night, right, he's in the middle of sleeping, and he has a dream. He's in the dream, he goes out to the balcony, and all of a sudden the balcony falls. Right? The balcony falls, he wakes up, he's all startled, this and that. Okay, fine. He says, you know what, let me just get some water. He gets up, right, from the bed, and he collapses. He collapses. Right? Now, he starts, hey, well, he starts screaming. The wife wakes up. She doesn't understand what's going on. They take him to the hospital. They don't know what's wrong with him. They don't know what's wrong with him. But he can't walk. He's paralyzed. It's like completely out of the blue. Start doing checks. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And she, the entire time, is just sitting and coming. And what's she doing? And she's saying Tehillim. Yeah? Okay. Tehillim. Okay. What happens? Finally, after a few weeks, right, he's thinking to himself, and he says, you know what? I'm going to try it. He asks his wife, do me a favor, right? You remember you brought me tefillin. Bring me the tefillin. He says, what? She was shocked. She ran home, got the tefillin, brought it back. She helps him put him on, everything, right? He goes to sleep that night, and he has a dream. What's the dream? He's walking out to the balcony, and the balcony is 100% straight. So what happened is that he wakes up, right? And he tells the nurse, okay, I'm going home. She goes, what are you talking about? He gets up and he starts walking. As if nothing ever happened to him. So nobody knows how to explain. But now how's this connected to tzedakah? So he says he was never a religious person. One Friday afternoon, right, what happened was that somebody came and he asked him for tzedakah that he needed for Shabbat. And he says he doesn't even know why. But he said he went and he took from the money from what he had in the haircutting thing. He went and he gave it to the guy in order to go to buy things for Shabbat. He says he never understood even why he did it. But he went, he took it, and he gave it to her. He gave it to the guy. He says immediately afterwards, that's when this woman came into his life. This woman, right, was the cause of the tzedakah. Zorea tzedakot, he came and he gave tzedakah. And after coming and giving tzedakah, that was matzniach yeshuot, without even realizing it, it gave him the salvation. This woman came into his life. And this woman that came into his life came and was going to help him out to cure him because of what was going to happen to him. And therefore it was a borei refuot as well. And each one has a connection. Which means that a person has to understand that from tzedakah will always come yeshuot. But it's only if he realizes that everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu.